Hello everyone, this is Locksmith and I'm doing my first video series on clip breakdown. So here we're going to look at a clip from Growling Sidewinder and break it down, the good and bad of what I did here, and I'll do other players from other clips, but just to provide a more constructive training lesson so that some of the information isn't gatekept within the DCS community. So we're on Growling Sidewinder here, and I'm approaching an aircraft on data link, and I use this hill to approach him. So I'm going to be using the helmet here to lock him up. So I got him locked here. I notice our closure's fairly good. I'm not very fast here yet. And he's 14 miles. I drop the lock, visually find him and recommit. At this moment, this is where the strategy has to start. So I notice it's a MiG-29. We're on Growling. I know it's a MiG-29 by the RWR. And so what's going through my mind here is, what missiles do I have to be aware of here at this distance? And so it's obviously going to be maybe an R-27ET, Fox 1. I know with the one AMRAAM I have left that if he shoots an R-27ET and he wants to keep the lock, he will die to the AMRAAM, so I'm not really too worried about it. Then there's the R-27ET, which is the biggest threat here, and then the SD-10. So a few things have to happen here for this engagement to work. I have to gain some speed, so that, not so much for my missile performance, so that when I go into idle and flare looking for the ET, the ET's not going to find me, but it's going to find my flares. And so I'm going to need to pick up speed here. And then I'm going to offset them so that if it's an SD-10, I can move into the notch. So you're going to see down here that I'm going to go full throttle here, go into burner. And I'm keeping them offset. And I'm just visually looking for the smoke for the ET, because I won't get a warning since it's a long-range Fox 2. And expecting maybe an SD-10 here. Alright, this moment I'm going to try to get close to no escape here, so I'm going to slightly turn in and do a roll and shoot and dive. We're at 7.4 miles, and then the goal is if it doesn't kill him, I'll have to follow up with a 9X, but really I'm just using the speed in the dive so that when I cut my throttle I don't get really slow here. So I Fox, and as you can see I'm already in idle. I'm diving down towards where the notch should be, and you can hear Betty going over the audio letting you know that I'm dropping flares here on my own countermeasure program that I programmed. Alright, so I roll out here at F83, he's 80 degrees. You can see down here I notice that he's hot towards me according to the radar, and the MiG is just or the MiG-29 RWR indication, which is probably going to be a J11, it's just above the 9 line. Now the important thing here is that since he's coming towards me and he's above the line, when he shoots his missile is going to generally appear, because it has to take lead, more below the MiG-29. And so I'm already pretty much set up for the notch, and I just need to drop for altitude here. Alright, you see the smoke trail here, so it was an ET, and I can tell already, since it's not staying constant in my field of view and it's trailing behind, that it actually is going for the flares. So picking up that speed is working for me well here, and I already know that the missile didn't track. I'm going to hold this a little bit longer just to make sure he didn't follow up with an SD-10. I'm visually keeping track of him here. So I noticed that he didn't shoot. I can see him right here. This little dot is him, and he's notching my AMRAAM. I got 2 9Xs left. And as soon as the missile hits the max range here, I know that he's turning into me, because he knows that he defeated the missile. So I don't need to wait for no escape. I can just shoot the missile here, and it's going to find its target if he tries to press me, and I'm going to go right back into offsetting him for the notch. Now, one thing you're going to see down here is I'm not even worried about him right now. That 9X is probably going to find him. I'm already data linking the next biggest threat, making him PDL, primary data link, so I can quickly engage. But I'm going to be pointing out a couple mistakes I make here next. Once I get him PDL, I'm looking out the window, and I'm deciding that maybe the 9X isn't going to connect here, so I'm starting to turn in. I visually see him right here. And splash. Alright, this is where I make the mistake. I should have gone full throttle here to pick up some speed. I am a little slow at 569. I'd rather be around 620 here. So I wait for tone here. We are 3 miles. This is very close. Now, I'm going to end up dying here, and this is always hindsight. I should have just kept turning right. I was already slightly banked here, and I could have used this little depression here to notch this way. Instead I go left, and I'm a little slow for such a high G turn that this missile's going to end up finding its home. So I dive down into the notch, which actually isn't enough here. Give it a rudder kick, hoping to lose it. And it finds me. But I do trade with him. So anyways, a couple lessons to be learned there. I should have been a little bit more diligent on the throttle after assuming that I was going to get the splash on the J11, but kind of trapped between a rock and a hard place. Worried about R-73s and ETs on the recommit, but I think if I would have went to the right and just notched, I probably would have lived there and got a nice 2-piece. Anyways, this is a new video series I plan on doing. I hope people find this informative. Please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks.